Good morning to all of you out there. Welcome to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and today is May 7, 2021. It's a Friday, another weekend on our hands. And you are watching us, of course, via Signal TV channels 8 and 250, and also on facebook.com/onenewsph. And if you can't get us on Facebook, you can also watch us on YouTube. Just press in One News PH. Okay, you can also download the Signal Play app. Today, we will have two guests, both ladies. First will be Secretary Bernadette Romulo-Puyat from the Department of Tourism, because marami na sa inyong nanggigigil bumiyahe. Yung iba gumagawa na ng paraan, masaklap, because some are resorting to unlawful means just to be able to go to the beach. So we will address that. And after our interview with Secretary Bernadette Romulo-Puyat, we will interview COMELEC Commissioner Rowena Guanzon regarding the probability or what she thinks will happen for the 2022 elections. We will ask Commissioner Guanzon for an update. In the meantime, let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. There you go. Retired Supreme Court Justice Antonio Carpio said he is accepting the President Rodrigo Duterte's challenge on the West Philippine Sea issue. The two have been exchanging words recently over the country's handling of the territorial disputes. And in his Wednesday briefing, the president took it a step further by challenging Carpio to a debate, which the former Supreme Court Justice accepted. The Philippine Bar Association has even offered to host the said debate. Pero ang tanong po ng ordinaryong mamamayan, para sa ano? Makakain ba namin yung debate na yan? Well, just a point there. Let's not waste our time on words. Let us all get together for action. Meanwhile, days after getting his first shot of Sinopharm vaccine, President Duterte has ordered the pull-out of the shot from the country. The chief executive was citing the lack of endorsement for Sinopharm's safety and efficacy, but he defended his move to get the shot, saying that it got the go signal of the Food and Drug Administration through a compassionate special permit. Mr. President, sir, that is 999 doses minus the one you got, and that's still 999 Filipinos who could be spared the misery, the agony, and financial disaster of COVID-19. Let's not allow our annoyance from our critics or our anger to get in the way of your better judgment, sir. Okay, and the Philippine Statistics Authority reported that unemployment rate is down to 7.1% last March. This is equivalent to around 3.4 million Filipinos in the workforce who are jobless. Back in February, the jobless rate was 8.8%. Okay, now let's move on. Let's go to our first interview. The time is 8:04. We have with us none other than our favorite Secretary Bernadette Romulo-Puyat of the Department of Tourism. Nako, mukhang yung assistant yata ni Secretary Berna yung nasa camera. Iha, pakitawag si Secretary. Para naman, I'm sorry, I have to compliment you on your looks. You look so fresh, so young. Ano secret mo, ma'am?
Nako, good morning, Cito. That's why I love guesting here. I think mga twice a month na yata ako nag-guest ngayon. Or
Yes,
once a month
ma'am.
pa lang. Yes, kahit na every week, okay lang. As long as, I have to say that it really feels comfortable guesting with you because it feels like we're just nagkakwentuhan lang, but at the same time, everybody is informed and updated. That's
Okay,
why,
well,
thank you.
you're
Yes.
welcome. Speaking of informed and updated, we've been trying to schedule you kasi una, there was a time a few weeks or a month ago where the government seemed to have problems getting the hotels to cooperate in quarantine. And then I picked
Mm,
up a story na you were able to speak with them
yeah.
and arrange it. Paano nyo nagawa yun when the IATF couldn't get the hotels to open up? You did.
I actually, for the quarantine hotels, since March 2020, the hotels have already been, we're so grateful, they've already been open for quarantine. Kasi there are three kinds of hotel. Isolation, meaning only purely positive, either mild or asymptomatic. But this is the staff here are only from the BOQ kasi puro COVID positive. So we have isolation facilities with hotels that have been converted to isolation facilities. Number two, we have quarantine hotels. So ito naman yung pauwi na OFWs or OFs but can be manned by normal hotel
Hospital
staff.
staff.
Yung quarantine pwedeng yung not necessarily hospital staff but pwedeng yung from the hotel. So ito yung naghihintay kung they have to go through like right now the 7-day quarantine and then either positive or negative. So probable pero hindi pa sure na positive or negative. And then of course the staycation hotel, it's only for leisure. Now regarding the quarantine hotel, since March of 2020, a lot of the hotels have been operating as quarantine hotels. Admittedly, at the start, kukonti pa lang ang pumayag. But right now, but a lot already agreed, in fact, for quarantine. In fact, maraming, what do you call this, they were so happy that they were allowed to operate kahit noong March 2020 nung ECQ. Kasi kahit papaano nakaka-operate at nakakabigay ng kahit yung may break-even sila for their operating cost. So we are so grateful to the hotels kasi yung quarantine hotels. Yun sila talaga, ang hotel industry has been the lifesaver. Kasi imagine kung March 2020 hindi sila pumayag maging quarantine hotel. Saan magsistay yung mga umuuwing OFWs. Now,
Yes.
with regard to the isolation facility, actually, 1 year na, hotels have been converted to isolation facilities. Maybe hindi lang siya medyo alam. And I think they were just, I think you were referring to some kasi of the hotel, they were only talking about their members. Oo, but hindi naman to be fair marami naman mga hotels when we talk to them, payag naman sila. Ang hinihingi lang nila na mabayaran sila.
Ayun. So it was
Yun.
just a question of compensation.
Compensation
Okay.
lang.
Or incentives.
Or incentives or medyo matagal na hindi nakakabayad. So, syempre pag hindi na nakakabayad ng matagal, hesitant sila. Pero nung nalaman naman nila mababayaran na sila, okay na.
Okay, now could we request you for an update regarding tourism? Kasi this past month, there have been people outside of the NCR Plus bubble who have reached out and said, Kuyang, can you please find out what the policy is? Kasi wala naman kami sa NCR Plus, pero parang hindi yata pwedeng tumawid-tawid o mamasyal sa ibang regions, etc. Why are there also restrictions if we are not within the NCR Plus?
Actually, yung una is bawal mag-travel from the NCR Plus. Kunyari, tayo, we're here in NCR Plus, we cannot go outside for leisure. Pwedeng essential or kung
Okay.
apor. But then, for example, people from Mindanao or the Visayas, they can go naman to all these tourist destinations which are under MGCQ. Pwede naman. Like in the case of Baguio, they reopened, pero they only accept from everybody except NCR Plus. Pwede naman. Could be also, like I've heard of some LGUs na they entirely closed. But that was their decision. Like for example, there was a time in El Nido, the mayor decided na hindi ako magtatanggap from anybody. But that was their decision. But they could have accepted talaga from anybody from the Visayas, the Mindanao region, wag lang NCR Plus. Pwede naman yon. Now, when we started Leisure last year, it was under GCQ already. GCQ na yung Metro Manila.
Yeah.
But admittedly ngayon, hirap na hirap nga. And I think I guested sa'yo, tapos kinuwento ko sa'yo yung frustration, yung naaawa kami dahil babangon na dapat ngayon. Holy Week dapat yung peak time people were going to be, the tourist destinations would have been already, well, at least babawi na, full, pero nangyari itong bagong variant. So, from GCQ restricted, naging ECQ tayo sa talagang bawal na bawal ang travel outside the NCR Plus to all these tourist destinations. Tapos ngayon, MECQ, bawal pa rin. But yesterday, this is the first time we met from 2 p.m. up to, I think, 7 or 8 p.m. last night, the meeting with IATF. Finally, pumayag na ang IATF. Una hiningi namin was kung pwedeng i-resume yung travel kasi may test before travel naman eh. From NCR Plus to all these tourist destinations. Siyempre, ang DOH hindi muna pumayag kasi we are still under an MECQ. Sabi, maghintay muna kung GCQ. Pero finally, pumayag naman sila only kung point-to-point travel from NCR Plus to destination hotel. Pero pumayag lang sila kung air travel at kung chartered flight. So at least, for example, from NCR Plus, kasi siguro they want direct point-to-point travel. Hindi muna pumayag na by land or by sea. Pumayag lang muna by air. So from NCR Plus, they can fly to an island diretso para talagang direct point-to-point travel. Or kunyari meron mang land travel, very, very short na lang, and dapat yung diretso talaga to the I think they want, that's what they call the travel bubble. They want to make sure na talagang everybody in that plane will go directly to the island destination. Wala nang ibang pupuntahan pa. Now, okay na sa akin ito because ang hinihingi namin at first was test before travel, hindi pumayag. Mas maganda na ito na paunti-unting pumayag kaysa yung dating no travel at all. So at least sabi ko, give and take. So but all they have to do pala is apply to the DOT, operation for point-to-point travel. And dapat of course pumayag yung LGU. Yun,
Okay,
kasi syempre, oo.
So outside, kung hindi tiga Metro Manila, hindi tiga NCR Plus,
Ay, pwede. They can go.
pwede, no problem.
Yes,
Now,
pwede.
what about the issue of vaccinated individuals? Because globally, I think in terms of tourism, the vaccinated individuals is the next step for tourism. Many people in the industry globally are saying, if persons are vaccinated and adding an RT-PCR requirement, that should cover everything. Are you going to push for that?
I've been pushing for that na sana kung fully vaccinated, hindi na kailangan mag-quarantine. But paulit-ulit the doctors in the IATF have been saying na it protects the individuals, but not necessarily, they can actually still be carriers. And then in Asia actually, only Thailand has actually reduced the quarantine days, pero from 10 days to 7 days for fully vaccinated individuals. So hindi pa rin, even Thailand, they have not, for fully vaccinated, they have not reduced it to 0. Kasi syempre yung gusto ko 0, kasi Sir Cito naman, how hard to travel, tapos 7 days na sa loob ka ng kwarto. But in Thailand, kasi what I do is, syempre, I'm always pushing for that. And I'm always looking at what the other countries are doing. And in Thailand, so far, yun pa lang ang ginagawa. From 10 days, ang fully vaccinated, down to 7 days. Pero may quarantine pa. But what Thailand is planning, although from June na push siya sa July, I think they want to do a pilot for Phuket, that they want to fully vaccinate everybody in Phuket. And then the target is by July. And then yung fully vaccinated can go to Phuket. And by the time they should have been also fully vaccinated, the residents of Phuket. And then the target is July na wala ng quarantine. But it's a moving target kasi nung una target nila was June, ngayon July. So kami naman, we are also pushing naman, but it's not only for international travel, but we are also pushing naman for our tourism frontliners to also be vaccinated. Kasi even naman for domestic tourism, dapat naman because they have to be protected. Last Feb, pumayag na si Secretary Galvez, and we are so grateful to him, na yung tourism frontliners natin ay makasama sa priority list. So they are now A4. Diba? A1 is health workers, A2 are senior citizens, A3 is comorbidity. So A4 na sila. In fact, last May 1, nakasama na about 150 of our A4 working in quarantine hotels na vaccinate na sila. Now, for LGUs na, some LGUs na tapos na nila yung A1 to A3, pinayagan na, nakapag-vaccinate na sila ng mga A4 who are those working in quarantine hotels. Recently, we also asked, kasi syempre nasama lang natin those working in airports and those working in quarantine hotels. We were asking sana all. Kasi di ba the nature of tourism is face-to-face.
Yeah.
So nasama na yung mga frontliners sa hotels, nasama na yung mga drivers, nasama na rin yung sa restaurant, frontliners sa restaurants, and media, nasama na rin yung mga frontliners sa media. So di ba the important thing naman is, of course, the most important is the supply. The next is if you are in the priority list. So at least we're happy na unti-unti nasasama na yung ating mga those working in tourism, they can be vaccinated. And then we could, already push for pagdating dito ng fully vaccinated, maybe we could also copy Thailand. Kung fully vaccinated naman yung pupuntahan nilang lugar, baka no quarantine na.
Because from the looks of it, the vaccines will be coming. Reasonable expectation would be August, so it would be in the bare months wherein it would be possible for vaccinated Filipinos to travel to tourist destinations where frontliners are also vaccinated. Is that correct?
Yes. But in certain provinces like La Union, they already said that pag fully vaccinated, pwede na kahit na walang RT-PCR. So, so far La Union has done that, La Union province. So, so they can already enter kahit na walang RT-PCR as long as they can prove that they are fully vaccinated.
Okay, Secretary, how long can the industry sustain this or manage this? Because there are people who every month just tell me, Cito, give up na kami. We're kind of worried baka it's so hard to start up a tourism destination, to start up a business. What's the department doing about it?
First of all, yun na nga the very important thing is that they are in the priority list pag may vaccination na. That is for me the most important. Kasi really, I think the only way to restart tourism, yung tuloy-tuloy na, hindi gaya yung nangyari sa atin na ready na for Holy Week and summer, tapos naitigil na naman because of the new variant. So number 1 yon. Right now, but these are for the employees of DOT accredited enterprises, LGU enterprises, or those working in tourist destinations. May kahit konti, may sa Bayanihan 2, may 5,000 pesos financial assistance. So this, of course, this is very small, but at least kahit konti, meron only for tourism. importante is hindi lang the employees of DOT accredited enterprises ang nakasama, but everybody working in the tourist destination, including the boatmen, the surf instructors, the masahista, those that have jobs because of tourism. Number two, we were able to ask for working capital loans. This is, since the DOT, di ba, our mandate is really just really promotion, accreditation, training. Inilagay ito under the Department of Trade and Industry, SB Corps, kasi they have a lending unit. May 6 billion pesos that was allotted for tourism. These are for MSMEs. 4 years to pay, 0 interest, 0 collateral, and a 1-year grace period. So it could be as small as 250,000, as high as 5 million. But these are only for small businesses.
Okay.
Again, this is still not enough. But we are really trying, kasi at lalo na 6 billion lang. And, I have to admit kasi this was we have the Tourism Response and Recovery Plan. And ito yung hiningi talaga is working capital loans. Pero, di ba, iba yung pinaplano at iba yung implementation. Now that there is a 6 billion fund, marami pa rin, hesitant pa rin humiram. Kasi even with the 1-year grace period, because that's it, they don't know when the tourism will restart. But again, we will still focus on domestic tourism. So we are just grateful that tourism contributed 12.7% to the country's GDP. 10.8% came from domestic tourism. So we had 110 million domestic trips for 2019, as compared to we had foreign visitors, although that was already record-breaking of 8.26 million foreign visitors, but that is a small compared to domestic tourism. We are just lucky. Unlike last year, everything was closed. At least ngayon, like connected to your previous question, ang bawal lang naman mag-travel was yung NCR Plus, but everybody can travel na, yung bukas na naman the tourist destinations.
Okay.
So, yon. Yes.
Last question, Secretary. I know you have an important meeting. My last question, have you managed to sort out with the DILG all of these different contact tracing apps, different travel passes, different requirements for travelers and tourists?
Oo, yung supposedly, yun na nga, there should be one app. One app. So, ang I think ang pinag-uusapan is, I think that's really best discussed with the DILG. And then whatever app the LGU has, it has to be interoperable with the one app. But right now, as I have to admit, each LGU has its own app. So, I can't say that there is one app for the whole country. But,
Okay.
But of course, we are working on this, yes.
Okay, well, we continue to support the DOT. We continue to support you and appreciate your efforts. And please keep in touch. And sana nga magbago na by August. Intiisin na lang natin up to August. But maybe we can just go in a big way after August. Thank you very much, Secretary Berna.
Thank you, Sir Cito.
Okay, that's Secretary Bernadette Romulo-Puyat. And kung papakinggan nyo po, parang halos walang pinagbago pero meron namang konti. May aabot ng konting tulong sa mga nasa tourism sector, yung mga bankero, mga masahista, mga waiters, etc. And alam ninyo, sabihin yung ibang critics, sasabihin 5,000, anong mangyari sa 5,000? Yung 5,000 po, kung i-flip ninyo at marunong-runong kayo, baka pwede kayong gumawa na munang ibang kabuhayan. May kaibigan ako, nagtayo ng resort bandang sa Batangas. And what he is now doing is, he is now concentrating on the food supply of his future operations. Kasi many tourism people go into building the hard structures, the facilities, but they forget na saan sila kukuha ng pagkain. So kahapon nagkausap kami, sabi ko, pare, tayuan mo muna ng mga above ground fish pond para sa tilapia mo, para sa lapu-lapu mo, yung poultry mo, wag mo nang gawin ng kung ano-ano, etc. So there are alternatives which can keep us busy, sustain us, and in the meantime, let's go for a quick break. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, you're back here on Agenda, and I'm your host, Cito Beltran. You are watching us via Signal TV channels 8 and 250, as well as on Facebook.com/OneNewsPH, and on YouTube, enter One News PH, and on also on the Signal Play app. Brought to you by PLDT Home Fiber Unlimited. Okay. May maganda pong balita because as I mentioned and shared last Monday on the program, last Tuesday, nabakunahan na po ako and we were vaccinated here in Pasig City, and thank you once again to the leadership in Pasig City because bagamat mahaba yung proseso, natutupad naman at maayos naman. And after the vaccination, we were told that your second jab will be after 3 weeks or 28 days yata yung sabi sa akin. Eh ngayon, ang inaalala ko, I have to be honest, I was kind of concerned. Sabi ko, it's nice, I now have part 1, but what about part 2? Kasi, di ba, laging may balita, there's always this news na nagkakaubusan, kung ano-anong dumadating, meron ng Sputnik, meron ng kung ano, meron pa mang ibang yung Sinopharm dumating din, pero parang sabi ko, baka magkaubusan itong Sinovac. Biglang hindi ko alam kung saan ko hahanapin yung second job ko. And I was really asking around and checking already for, just as a backup. Kasi pinakaayaw po ng marami, lalo na yung mga senior citizens, ay yung pangalawa na lang iniintay mo tapos hindi mo pa makukuha. But apparently what's happened is, and we've been monitoring this news since 7 in the morning, dumating na dyan sa NAIA on board a Cebu Pacific plane. Ayan po, yan. That's live right now, happening at the NAIA. 1.5 million doses of Sinovac vaccine mula China sa NAIA Terminal 2. Okay. Di ba, naging issue pa yung Sinovac noon at nagsabi pa si Harry Roque, huwag kayong choosy. Eto, hindi na kami choosy. Siguraduhin nyo lang makuha namin. Eto, dumating na 1.5 million doses. I don't know if we have a reporter or a correspondent on the ground, but it would be nice to find out, yan ba ay utang na loob, inutang, o paid in full? Kasi may mga nagpo-post na ngayon sa Facebook wala, ako ay Pilipino at wala akong utang sa China. So medyo yun ang issue. But there you go. You can now see it there. From the plane, it has been transported to that refrigerated van, and it will be transferred to presumably the nearest DOH facility. Marami-rami na po yan, 1.5 million na yan. At least marami doon sa mga may excuse me, nababahing po tayo. Marami sa mga senior citizen sa Metro Manila, ang kanilang vaccination is with Sinovac. So that is something to look forward to. From what I gathered regarding this matter, it's not just for Metro Manila. It will also, a part of this shipment will also be sent to Metro Cebu and Metro Davao. Kasi yun nga nagiging priority ngayon ng IATF is to send out the vaccines to areas that are economic hubs, or kung saan marami yung mga business, negosyo, at maraming mga empleyado at business owners. Kasi po, okay, ito, may feedback galing kay aming executive producer Gab Malyari, si Gabriel. Binili po ito, sir. Not, in capital letter pa yung not niya not donated. So wala tayong utang na loob dito sa batch na ito ng 1.5 million na doses ng Sinovac vaccine. But alam nyo, pa-effect lang naman yung sinasabi nating utang na loob, hindi utang na loob. Because, Filipinos are like that. We kind of like to engage each other. We will always react and, respond to statements. But I think this is the most important thing that should be happening. We should be focusing on getting the vaccines from wherever and giving them to whomever in the Philippines. Meron nga pong sumulat sa akin na mga foreigners, and they are quite concerned. And I do hope we could hook up with someone, Gab, maybe Carlo Nograles, or maybe with Yusek Jonathan Malaya, to find out, or even Undersecretary Vergere, to find out, because the residents, marami kasing Pilipino, asawa nila foreigner, katulad ko. Marami ang nag-aalala, baka hindi raw sila masasali sa bakuna kasi hindi naman sila natatawag o wala silang balita. And a statement from Secretary Carlito Galvez just now, next month, 4.5 million Sinovac shots pa po na darating. Okay, so ayun, So 1.5 plus 4.5, 6 million. Marami na po yan kasi the population of Metro Manila is approximately 15 million, pero hindi naman lahat bibigyan ng Sinovac. And yun po, para dun sa mga nagtatanong, nag-iisip, the vaccination program is based on a schedule. First, the healthcare workers. Second, senior citizens. And third would be individuals with comorbidity or may mga sakit na maaring ikasama nila, lalo na pag nadapuan sila ng COVID-19. After that would be the frontliners. Okay, frontliners, mga hindi yung health frontliners, frontliners sa mga hotel, mga pulis, bumbero, yung mga sumusugod o laging humaharap sa madlang people. Okay. And last would be I think the children. Pero wag po kayong mawawalan ng pag-asa. Don't lose hope because right now in America, I think it was started by Pfizer, they've started testing on vaccines on 2 years old to 5 years old, and there has been no adverse reactions. Maganda yung mga reports, and they are now working on this possibility of getting a release or parang yung kumbaga baka pumayag na yung gobyerno na merong mga controlled population where they can give the vaccine to children. Kasi po, once all our teachers get the vaccine, then it just follows that the students should get the vaccine. But that's the issue right now. Mukhang mahuhuli yung mga nasa bottom end or the youngest will be the last. The first would be the oldest. In any case, we will go for a quick break, and we just needed to throw that in yung balita na yun. So 1.5 million Sinovac vaccine arrived at approximately 8:15 yata or 8 o'clock. Kasi ang scheduled arrival nung Cebu Pacific flight was 7:30. I don't know if it touched down at 7:30, but it arrived in NAIA 2 terminal, 1.5 million. According to Secretary Carlito Galvez, pwede raw na, maaasahan pa raw natin next month, 4.5. Okay, so yan po, no? Yan na lang ang ating pag-usapan kesa yung magdidebate si Presidente Duterte and si Chief Justice. Sayang, dapat naging Chief Justice. Supreme Court Justice Antonio Carpio. When you think about it, parang bakit hindi siya nag-Supreme Court Justice? Bakit hindi niya tinanggap? Siguro kasi baka mamaya pag tinanggap niya, hindi lang siya parang palalabasing may utang na loob sa presidente, baka i-impeach pa siya ng mga meron na laging nagpa-file ng impeachment dyan po against mga Supreme Court justices. Okay, let's go for a quick break, and when we return, we continue with agenda. You're back here on Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and we are still trying our best to connect with COMELEC Commissioner Rowena Guanzon regarding the probabilities or what the situation is in relation to the 2022 elections kasi po may mga nangangamba na baka raw po mapakialaman ng ibang bansa yung eleksyon dito electronically, baka maging madugo, sabi ni former Senator Trillanes. And yung iba naman ay nagtatanong, meron pa bang registration of voters? So while we're doing that, babatiin ko lang po, nakakataba naman ang puso. It's nice to know that we have viewers in New York City, USA. We hope that everything is much better there, especially after the horror that the city went through with COVID-19. We want to greet Imelda De Veza ng New York City. They're watching us. And thank you for watching Agenda. Medyo nakwento lang naman sa akin ng kapatid mo na nanunood daw kayo ng Agenda. And really nice to know that. I hope you are all well. Pakikamusta na lang yung mga members ng Filipino community dyan. Medyo naglagi din ako dyan ng, if I'm not mistaken, about 3 to 6 months, I think. I also want to say hello. She's probably not watching, but to my Tita Chona Beltran Raskins, and her son Popit and daughter Maria. And syempre, biglang lahat ng kamag-anak binati na, no? Sorry. I'm sure you guys, once in a while, if you remember, ay, nung tumira ako sa Amerika, ay, nung nasa Japan ako, ay, nung nasa Saudi ako, whether or not our experiences there were pleasant or memorable, etc., there are snapshots that we kind of take with us forever, and we are always ako na yung mga bagel, yung mga pupunta ako dun sa subway, kakain ako nung Bavarian sausage, etc. Pagkatapos paikot-ikot dun. Aba, ano dun, very romantic paminsan-minsan. Kanya lang, hindi na natin kwento yun, baka masapok ako dito. In connection with that, hello also to the brother of Imelda, Don De Vesa of the LTO. Si Don po yung sa Mandaluyong extension office ng LTO, at siya laging tumutulong sa atin sa mga interview request natin sa mga namumuno sa LTO. Sana po ASEC Ed Sos Ginoo, pati ako ay Galvante, Ed Galvante, at saka yung Director Chuck Ginto, sana mapag-usapan nyo po yung discount sa road users tax, lalo nang hindi namin nagagamit yung mga kotse namin dahil sa panay-panay ang quarantine. Let's go now to COMELEC Commissioner Rowena Guanzon. Ma'am, good morning po.
Magandang umaga po.
Okay, Com, how are you? First of all, kamusta ka na? How are you dealing with the COVID? Apektado ka ba sa quarantine or tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang trabaho mo?
Nag-work from home po ako dahil may email naman. Mga decisions ko, pinapa-LBC or air cargo. On time naman kami. Backlogs ko, mga 250 cases na lang. But, by October, after they file their candidacies, marami na namang petition for disqualification. So naman trabaho. But the commissioners are all working from home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on self-quarantine because I'm scared of this new virus. Dito sa Negros, 0 na po ang hospital beds sa Bacolod, lalo na. Wala na pong ICU beds.
Yeah.
Kaya kung sa Negros po kayo, ay lalo na may karamdaman, huwag na po kayong lumabas ng bahay. 0 hospital beds na po tayo, lalo na sa Bacolod. So, mag-ingat po tayo. At may nag-start na pong pagpapakuna dito sa mga LGU. So, yung mga election officers namin, naka-first dose na. Salamat po sa mga LGU. At, in the meantime, for my physical and mental health, I do exercises, get morning sunlight, I do a lot of gardening. morning and afternoon. Hinihintay ko po yung second dose ng bakuna.
Okay, so plantita na rin pala kayo and kasapi na kayo ng samahang bakunada.
Sana. May friend kasi akong dentista and after her first dose, nag-clinic siya, na-COVID pa siya. Naku. Kaya hindi po talaga, kailangan kahit na bakuna na kayo, ay mag-ingat pa rin po tayo.
Okay, well, I'm happy to hear that you are all right, that you are managing and coping, and salamat naman po na nabakunahan na rin yung mga kawani ng COMELEC. Please be careful. Yes, masama talaga ang situation dyan sa area ninyo. What about yung in COMELEC in general? Kasi may mga nagsasabing parang matutuloy ba, suspended ba, or tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang registration of new voters for 2022, Commissioner?
Nag-suspend lang naman, pero all other provinces, tuloy po ang registration namin hanggang 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At inuulit ko po, doon po sa mga walang MECQ, tuloy po ang registration dyan sa inyo. At as of now, since September last year, we have a total of 3.22 million. At ito lang na period ng January up to April 29 ay naka 1.7 million kami. So total po natin ngayon na new registrants ay 3,222,000. Mas marami pong babae ang nag-rehistro kaysa lalaki as usual. At mas marami pong babae ang boboto kagaya po ng mga nakalipas na eleksyon. So importante po ang boto ng mga kababaihan at lalo na po mga nanay na siyang nagdadala ng kalusugan ng ating pamilya.
Okay, what about the possibility of online voting? Because nung huli tayong nag-usap, Commissioner, I think nung minsan napag-usapan natin yan because of the US elections, napag-usapan natin posible ba yung online voting sa Pilipinas, especially because of what happened in India and because of the COVID quarantines.
Too late na po yan sa 2022 dahil napakaraming proseso niyan, bidding at lahat. Pero dito po sa overseas voting, kung saan ako ang commissioner in charge, magsisimula na po kami ng trial, testing lang po ng mobile app voting, pwedeng bumoto sa telepono. At ang mga butante namin sa testing na ito ay mga Department of Foreign Affairs na personnel. Sa June po, magsisimula na po ang Office of Overseas Voting. Ita-testing po namin itong mobile app voting at makasakaling sa sunod na mga eleksyon ay pwede nang sa overseas voting, pwede nang bumoto gamit yung inyong mga telepono. At pag successful po ito, I think this is the future, di ba? This is the future technology of elections. Kasi mga tao, lahat naman, well, hindi naman lahat. Marami ang may smartphone. So, lalo na po ang PWD, elderly, pregnant women, napakalaking tulong po kung makaboto tayo ng mobile app. So, inuulit ko po, overseas voting lang itong testing na ito. Magsisimula sa June. Tatlo po ang provider dito. Walang gastos ang COMELEC. Ni Cinco, wala pong gastos ang COMELEC dito. Kaya, ito po ang naiwan naming project dito sa overseas voting. Sana po ang sunod na commission and bank ay ituloy nila ito para sa sunod na, let's say, 2025 elections.
Okay, what about mail-in voting? Kasi ang marami pong talagang active bumoto ay mga senior citizen at marami pa rin tayong areas under quarantine, paulit-ulit ang mga lockdown. In the event that we still have the same medical or pandemic situation, do you see our elections being based on the postal service or by mail?
My professional opinion, dapat na po isulong nila yung dota mo. Fill up mo, tapos ibalik mo sa COMELEC. Ngayon, ang problem dyan sa mail voting, yung stamps. Kasi mga tao, kagaya sa overseas voting, hindi nila binabalik. Ayaw nilang bumili ng stamps. Ewan ko ba? So, pwede naman po tayong gumawa ng file post ng COMELEC pag nakabalik na yung mga balot. Ito talaga yun. So, mananawagan po tayo kay Senator Amy Marcos at kay Congresswoman Ferrer sa mga Electoral Reform Committee kung pwede na pong isulong ito. Pwede naman po i-limit natin, di ba? Pwede tayong mag-testing sa malalayong lugar lang, hindi yung mga urban cities, no? At manawagan din tayo kay Chairman Norman Fulencio ng Field Post na sabi niya, bibili sila, sana nakabili na sila ng kanilang mga systems para dyan to improve our post office delivery. Alam niyo naman, ang delivery dito sa province, mano-mano, naglalakad pa yung postman. Bigyan niya naman po ng motorsiklo o tricycle. So, sana po, matuloy ito, kung i-certify nila sa urgent sa Presidente, mahabol pa po yung mail voting, no? At pwedeng i-limit lamang sa mga ilang probinsya, parang testing. The way it works is, you apply for it, and you can apply for it online, and then COMELEC election officer will send you the ballot, or you can pick it up in the election office and they get to vote ahead, right? So there's enough time for them to return their ballots. And on election day, i-feed yan ng COMELEC, ng chair ng mga election board, i-feed niya yan sa machine para isama niya yan sa bilang sa voting machine. So that's how it works. It's very simple. What is not simple is to make sure that the ballots are delivered to them on time and to make sure that they are able to easily return their ballots to the COMELEC office before the day of the election.
Okay, so it's still something that we need to try, we need to test. The system isn't actually there. But what about the campaign for 2022? May sabi ni Senator Trillanes, it's going to be the bloodiest, maraming mamamatay at masasaktan. Sa tingin ba ninyo, may basihan yung sinasabi ni Trillanes, or is this going to be a very short and mostly electronic election? A campaign.
There's always violence in election. And usually it's in the far-flung provinces where there are warlords. Usually it's there in Mindanao. And some in, I think, Bangas.
Okay. Well, Commissioner Rowena Guanzon, thank you very much for your time. Alam ko po, talagang ginagawa niyo ng paraan na makipag-usap sa atin, and at least we have a clearer idea. Thank you for joining us this morning. Please take care of yourself there in Negros. Okay, I think medyo wala na, bumigay na yung linya. Alam nyo po, I really appreciate the time that Commissioner Rowena Guanzon shared with us, gave us, kasi mahirap po ang sitwasyon dyan sa Negros, in many parts of Negros. As the Commissioner said, wala na silang hospital beds for COVID, etc. Kasi napuno na yung mga hospital, lalo na yata dun sa Bacolod. And medyo nagkakahirapan na doon at ninenervyos na ang mga tao. And yun po, no, we really need to remind ourselves. I don't... well, here's the thing, okay? Doon po kumalat ng husto, so talagang namumroblema sila. And then may problema pa tayo doon sa connection. But as Commissioner Guanzon pointed out, yung online voting mostly pang OFW pa lang and Filipinos abroad. And then yung ating mail-in voting, akala ko medyo baka natrabaho na, mukhang hindi pa dahil after the US election, we were able to interview Commissioner Guanzon, and we had talked about that, the possibility of just having the ballots given or downloaded by voters, filling it up, and then sending it by mail or via email. Mukhang hindi natin nahawakan yan o hindi na-actionan. Kailangan ng budget, maraming technological requirements, etc. So we're going to have a problem in 2022 if this situation with COVID does not improve. So please be vigilant, be aware, and be proactive, because we need to make sure that we exercise our responsibility as citizens to vote, we safeguard our right to vote, and that we also protect each other from COVID-19, because we don't want a spread of the virus that like it happened in India. And please also, if you have time, say a short prayer for the people of India, the nation of India, as well as the Philippines. Marami po ngayon ang nagpre-prayer and fasting dito sa Pilipinas na mga churches, samahan, mga simbahan na are hosting vigils, rosaries, and prayer and fasting for our nation. Please make an effort to pray for the country, because we're going to need it a lot. Many things are at stake. The elections are at stake. The economy is at stake. Our own individual safeties are at stake. So I'm praying that you have a good, restful weekend, a safe weekend, and mag-gardening na lang kayo katulad ni Commissioner Guanzon. Huwag na kayong masyadong maglalabas. Ha? Yung iba sa amin, iba sa atin, essentials lang. Ako po, kung lumabas, talagang essentials lang, kasi pag hindi, ay naku po, huwag ninyo nang gawin yan. Okay, thank you very much for joining us this week. We hope to have a more interesting week next week. Thank you, and God bless all of you.